I think my verdict this week was it was pretty good. Yeah, I'm always tenuous to give that rating to Toqger since, well, Toqger tends to be pretty idiotic. But I think it skirts. I don't think it was bad this week. This is what I'm saying. Toqger 26, Garo 21, and of course Gaim 43. Oh my, that one. Let's of course start with the Sentai. After coming to a town and attacked by a bunch of Kuros, the Toqger begins scouring the area for Shadow Kaijin activity. Well, they don't really scour so much as go sightseeing, as they've done several times in several cities before. I think I'm lenient in this case, as they're being told to be on the lookout, but to explore. They're being told to explore and see the sights anyways, and usually that's how they come across this stuff. And yeah, they did, though indirectly. So I guess I'm lenient on that, especially since Reich is getting shut out of it. The Kaijin of the episode, Coin Shadow, used a contract, nefarious contracts, of course, read the fine print, to extort money and breed despair out of business owners, in specific the owner of a bathhouse. Now, this is cultural differences speaking, but bathhouses have different connotations than they do in the West. Bathhouses used to be places where, people would bathe because there was no plumbing. And it's usually individually or in small groups, if that. And I'd say small groups as in parents with children to make sure they're being fine. It's usually very insular, very private. Japanese and other Asian countries, however, count them as social experiences. So they've survived long past the period where there would be limited spaces, limited plumbing to do this, as there's this social interaction of going to a place, washing off, and then sitting in a very hot tub of water. And by tub, I mean as in the style of a very large jacuzzi, except, without the bubbles. And it's like going to a swimming pool, but the pool is less than 2 feet deep, and you really don't, do the dog paddle. And they're all kind of societal, cultural connotations to it. I saw a movie in college, I believe, about a Chinese owner of a bathhouse and how his son didn't really understand the relevance of why his father kept it running for so many years in the same state without improving it, like, tradition. This is relevant because Akira loves bathhouses, loves the entire experience to the point he has over 200 rules that create the perfect process, the perfect situation for enjoying himself there. And yeah, I still am feeding my head canon that he's a depressed person, because depressed people, when they have something that really enjoy and makes them happy, it becomes all the more important to them that they get the most out of it when they can. At least that's my experience. I've had some issues, and yeah, it makes them cherish the things they find enjoyment in all the more, and that fits with Akira's character. Plus, it ties into his affinity for water due to his Shadow Kaijin powers, the make it rain thing. Well, when you do a bathhouse, you're already getting wet, so you don't ruin the experience. So it's kind of synergistic. His cold, depressing rain versus the warm, soothing waters of a bathhouse. It fits very well. The plots kind of coincide because Akira likes to visit bathhouses. He doesn't like using showers, so when he gets the chance to go to one, he does, and he stops by them. And Kagura, when she gets separated from the group, comes across him about to enter the one which has been scammed by the Kaijin in human disguise. Now, Akira initially hears about the whole thing and wants to just transform and use his powers to kick the guy's ass. Of course, Kagura stops him. But, it's the thought that counts to this, because, Akira's not human. He's admittedly human-looking now, but he's still inside, or on some depth level, a monster. He doesn't want to be, and that makes all the difference, but because of that, he doesn't know human, cultural, societal interactions and what's the point where you have to stop. So this was good for them, too. And then the rest of the Toqger come in, and Akira gets to show off his knowledge as they learn about the situation, and this is part of an annoying thing that might have irritated some people with the episode, but I kind of thought it wasn't bad. They hear about the owner's situation and decide to help him out, raise enough money so the loan he made with the Shadow Kaijin can be paid off, because the loan was to improve the place, make it more of an experience for people that are, drawing customers. What a lot of people with businesses want to do. So hire the Kaijin and took out the loan as an image consultant. And then, of course, he's a monster, he wants to breed despair, he screws him over. They explain a lot of cultural specific terms, not exactly cultural specific, but business specific terms for special types of bathing experiences, and when taken literally, they give a different connotation. So the manager is told to suggest this type of thing that uses a special herb, but due to how language works in Japanese, it remove a character in the term, and it becomes something different. So from herb, they somehow got masked wrestlers. And then a term for a stupor-styled bath, aka jacuzzi, massaging instruments in the waters to make it a super deluxe package kind of thing, which wouldn't really increase costs that much, all things considered. It gets turned into a supermarket. I actually found these funny, and when I'm laughing at Sentai humor, at Toei writer humor, which I admit I do sometimes, but I'm a slapstick and clever phrases person, and this one had me legitimately enjoying it. I think what helps is Wright was completely shoved aside the entire episode, and I have repeatedly stated that get rid of Wright and the show would be much better, and this is a perfect example of that. He's barely in the episode aside from, standing in the background, and everything works. I know it seems like hating a single character, turning a show, but, it's cumulative. When he's a focus, and they do everything he says, even though how stupid it might seem, or how right it is, they seem like idiots due to that. And, I don't know, the Kaijin's entire plan was pretty clever, because not only was he gathering despair from the guy, the despair in the shadows, he was trying to get a mass of negative energy and just, negativity that had collected for centuries, or was naturally being released by the Earth, which was under this guy's house. Or, not house, business, which would have been drawing everybody away. meaning wasn't exactly the guy's fault. So there's multi-tiers to this, and I've repeatedly said that the villains are the most intelligent people on the show. This is another case of that, in that Coin Shadow is working smarter. He's not using outright attacks, and have the Toqger not intervened. Hell, the Toqger end up helping him to get directly to the darkness, so he doesn't need the contract with the bathhouse owner. Everybody wins. He gets the darkness. Akira gets his bathhouse. Guy gets to keep his bathhouse. I skipped one part that was admittedly silly, in that the Toqger advertise the bathhouse to a bunch of people in Sentai form, and use the train switching gimmick to make with the flashiness, drum up some publicity so the place could get enough money to pay off the loan. Moment of stupid comes from Akira this time. While he's really passionate about advertising it, he marks down the listed cost to 10 yen to use the place. 10 yen is equivalent to 10 cents. American. Yeah, $0.1. Yeah. Even if the place was even if they'd done 100 yen, that's still a buck an entry, and with how many coins they showed in the pile, that would have been, I want to say, enough for a pizza. I mean, I'm betting it's normally 1,000 yen, which would be even cost, I would say, for a bunch of people, and would have helped pay that off, but it seems like a kind of a dick move from Akira. I mean, I know he loves bathhouses, but part of the thing that allows people to continue working or continue living or continuing the businesses and passions is having a supply of money, and, it seemed like the guy didn't have that many financial issues. He was just wanting, a bump in income, which is why he agreed to hire the consultant in the first place that got him into debt. And then he kind of screwed him over, Akira. I mean, what the hell? It just seemed like, no, it's not an out-of-character thing, but I thought he would have had more respect for the process than that. Of course, he doesn't have much respect for the process anyways, as he lifts the entire building off its foundation using the build Resha. Which actually leads to, Amenochi Rainbow. Amenochi Rainbow is Tokyo Rokugo's theme song, the Sixth Ranger theme. And it was perfectly used for this fight, which featured mainly Kagura and Akira teaming up to fight, and they worked really well together. I think this also helped get Kagura out of other people's quote-unquote shadow in her learning and appreciating Akira's passion for this and learning to enjoy it herself. This is what worked. Ironically, there was no real imagination in there aside from creative solutions to problems, which was the lifting the building off of its foundation. So yeah, Coin Shadow dies in Giant Megazord Brawl, which he went giant after absorbing all the shadows under the building, which removes the negativity, which means the guy should have no problem drumming up business. And okay, we know the arm switching gimmick is from elbow on up. Now they show that the intermediate super form for the Megazord can, for Cho Tokyo, they can do the arm switches too with the I think they've got 4 or 5 support Reshas that don't go into the main combinations. So yeah, those will probably be starting to get featured a bit. Overall, yeah, this was a good one. I'm baffled to say that that's... another one I actually liked. It's still a minority in the show that I actually like things, and it's even rarer that it's a filler episode and not an arc episode. I mean, I like most of the arc episodes, even though there's stupid things in them. But this one, I think, had the least amount of bad parts of it out of this show. Okay, yeah, I definitely like this episode. Weird. Gaim. The time travel... Yeah, we knew the time-traveling Homura analog was going to show up eventually in this show. And, yeah, the Not Mai we've been seeing through periodically... The Not Mai we've been seeing periodically in the show is Mai. Mai turned partially into an overlord and possessing the golden fruits of power, fruit of knowledge, forbidden fruit. What is the term we've locked down for this thing? I've heard several different variations on it. So yeah, Mai is dead, by the way. The golden fruit had... I'm just going with the golden fruit. No, I'll stick with the forbidden fruit. The forbidden fruit had been fused with her heart. So, Ryoma cut out her heart, which was now the fruit, to claim it. You really didn't see this coming, Michi. You really didn't see it coming at all. He's pretty much now been responsible for the destruction of his home, his family, his friendships with pretty much everybody, and now the woman he claimed to love. You are pretty much death incarnate, and by death incarnate, I mean your actions cause the death of everybody around you. And yeah, he doesn't kill Kota. Kota pulls a Tsukasa in. He winds up for an attack and then leaves himself completely open. Now, first I'm thinking, stupid! You are made of stupid! That only worked with Tsukasa because, you know, Kamen Rider Time Capsule. That's what he turned himself into to make that work. Admittedly, I still believe that was not what Shoji Yonemura intended in that ending for Tsukasa to die for everybody else's sins and become the big Genesis analog of Toei continuity, but yeah, he does it. Stabbed in the gut. And Kota pretty much forgives Michi for everything, and he really does not have the ground to talk for everybody on that. It starts off as, when did we stop being friends? Which I think is the best way to get this, in that, when did Michi start hating him? What was the point where he started actively wanting the death of everyone? Now, we can pretty much pinpoint it to my slapping him in episode 25. But even before that, he was blaming Kota for things upon things, and I think that all spiraled out when he saw the footage of him killing Yuya's invest form. Because he started not trusting Kota as much, going off on his own, so it might seem that he'll kill me next, even though he didn't know about it. I mean, Kota didn't know about it. Kota told him. And where was I? Yeah, Michi doesn't realize it's kind of his epiphany moment, in that everything he's done, pretty much everything he's done, has made everyone else's life worse. And he's thinking to himself, but as long as I saved Mai. And then he finds Mai dead. Yeah. And Ryoma rails him on this, mockingly. about how he didn't trust his best friend in the world. Person who never gave up on him, who he's been trying to kill for about half a year now. Okay, maybe not half a year. When did that air? 23? Okay, a quarter of a year now. Actively. 18 would have been... Okay, a third of a year. That's probably it. A third of a year, 3 to 4 months. Admittedly, timelines in between these shows kind of get sketchy, but it's definitely been a few months. And you didn't trust the man who has never shown any inclination of killing anybody that was acknowledged as his friend. Hell, the one time he got serious when Michi was first impersonating Tagatora for him to get sand down, he thought, he's going to kill me. Without evidence, because he'd never seen Kota fight seriously. Yeah, he doesn't fight seriously against people who are humans, or at least he didn't. I'm getting off track again. But yeah, Ryoma pretty much rails on him for how stupid he's been. And I get a grin out of that, because this is everything he had coming. Admittedly, I would have preferred him dying, but if you can't kill him, break him entirely is not a bad substitute. Kaito comes into the picture around now, having been informed by, I think the guy's name is Rats, and whoever else had helped Michi and Ryoma take Mai to his hideout, and they're informed, and they go to the lab. Michi's broken. Ryoma's there, trying to figure out how the golden fruit disappeared, because this is where Mai travels back in time to try and stop all of this, and does all of the stuff that, well, we've seen her do before, and in that time travel bit of her trying to get them to not do this, she's not able to say the word she wants because time has already been written. Now, it may just because of the method of time travel she's using, because we know in Toei continuity that time is the Doctor Who wibbly-wobbly timey ball of stuff. Goddamn you, Denno. I guess it's because of the Forbidden Fruit's power to change the world. It means that it has to destroy a world to get that power to make one. And, you would still be destroying a world, but you would... Oh, I get it. Predestination paradox. That has to be the trick to use it. The golden fruit cannot affect anything that will affect its own creation. That would work, except it's being born from the Helheim, and the fruit was already created in Roshuo's care by this point, and I'm just trying to find ways to justify this when greater series continuity. How many time travel stories has Toei done in recent years? Den-O. Kiva. The Den-O episodes of Decade. O's had a time travel story. Force, Movie War Ultimatum had Force travel back in time. Wizard has a ring that lets him travel back in time. Or forward in time. Obvious one's Time Ranger. Go Busters vs. Go Kaiger had it in it and was used pretty badly. Superhero Tyson, I went over that one. Time travel is easy in Toei continuity. Now, the real reason is to put in that causality paradox, that these events will happen no matter what you would have done. And so we're just looking at the reality where You couldn't do anything different. This was going to happen. Things would have happened the exact same way had Mai done nothing. It was just easier for Zagara because he detected the ability of the golden fruit, the forbidden fruit, in these incidents, so he knew who to focus on to be the eligible ones for getting the fruit. Kota, Kaito, and Michi. So he knew how to hedge his bets. Admittedly, Zagara was already in the system, but, in the greater seeing who was competing, seeing who would be eligible, Mai just marked them, and he kept gambling on Kota because he kept trying to get out of the game. And then then he saw enough to be eligible for the fruit, and we got the Kiwami Lock Seed. Yep. So, for Zagara, that made his conquest all the easier. Because he's the Helheim. He is the Kyubey of the series. Yeah. Ryoma versus Kaito. Ryoma, as expected, has a little device that breaks the Genesis drivers. He broke Michi's after Michi came back and tried to attack him for killing Mai, and after breaking it, Michi just broke. Of course, he did install one in the Sengoku drivers, because, let's face it, aside from Kota, every Sengoku driver rider is pretty much ass-kicked by even the weakest of the energy riders. We know this. Yoko is living proof of that. Admittedly, Yoko kicks 7 types of ass on her own without powers, but yeah, Baron Banana Arms against Duke Lemon Energy Arms. Evil is Lemons. He kicks his ass. However, as he's about to go back for round 2, Kaito collapses in pain because of his Helheim infection. A couple of vlogs back, I postulated that at the end of the series, when they're just about to save the world, Kaito would intervene in Kota's attempt to save it, to show or prove his own power, even if it was just with Lemon Energy Arms. Now we know why. Now we know why the original plan was not to give him the 11 energy arms. It was so he would feel so weak to need power. But I still feel this fits better, because due to the Helheim infection that Redyu gave him episodes and episodes ago, he has enough of the poison flowing through his system, compounded by the drivers suppressing or trying to cure the infection by their wearing and use, trying to purify them, because that's what they were meant to do, purify the dangerous parts of the Helheim fruit so they could be useful. And that was very good foreshadowing with that. And so with enough of the poison in his system, Kaito eats a Helheim fruit and transforms into an Overlord Inves. I honestly did not see that coming. And he's completely sane, too. Fully intelligent, hasn't lost anything. Of course, now he's an Overlord, meaning he can control the Helheim Forest and can kick pretty much everyone's ass, aside from Kota, who is left bleeding out. Yeah, he's not dead. Michi just left him for dead. Thanks, Michi! You're a dick. That is technically, when you think about it, worse instead of just death. Death is quick. He'll have to live with everything he did. Okay, I no longer have any complaints about Michi not dying. As long as he stays miserable. Yes. So, we've got our plan now. Kaito's the last enemy of this... Oh, no, he's not. We've got Kamen Rider Jam to worry about, which is a Dark Apple Lock Seed user. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I think he's trying to be like Odin from Ryuki, because one of the inspirations for Gaim was Ryuki, and, not making one that sucks, and, wow, he is not. So, I'm looking forward to this finally ending. Well, no, I'm not. This has been pretty much agreed upon the best writer series ever. My favorite is still O's, but that's emotional and not judging of all its values. There's a difference. Garo. We are beginning the final arc. They encounter another horror that has Aris in it. It's the second to last one. There's only one more Aris can use as a host before she's out of hiding places, except we got a few complications. One, it's hinted that sealing Aris will kill Mayuri, which, if it kills Mayuri and that's how they seal horrors, then what happens when the jail breaks? Think about that for a second. But yeah, this is brought up as I want to say Makai Knight is possessed by the second to last slab horror, and, well, it acts abnormal of a horror in at least its methodology, because it first appears eating other horrors. Okay, that's its second appearance in that, but from its initial implication, it looks like the human it first killed could have been a horror in disguise, because some of them pretend to be fearful. But the weird thing about it is it's carrying around this little girl in white who's constantly smiling. Turns out it was its first meal. Yeah, that drives Raiga appropriately through the roof. And, I don't know. Because I've watched Chapter of the Black Wolf now, I saw some creepy parallels to the story of Kiba in that series, because his horror form looks like a Makai Knight, a organic Makai Knight, and thanks to Chapter of the Black Wolf, we know the more organic-looking Makai Knights are either horror-powered or are horrors disguising themselves as Makai Knights. So yeah, there's odd connotations to that, but Zaruba notes it, and then, of course, they move on to all the stuff of hunting it down and the character development stuff. Crow gets a nice scene where he's questioning of his place in the world, and to just lead off of what happened last time with his subverted episode and his own insecurity issues of being constantly waylaid. And yeah, this is another episode where Crow really doesn't do anything for the story. Why is he here again? Of course, they catch up to it, and Raiga keeps hesitating when he's shown the little girl, even after he learns it is an illusion. I wouldn't have a problem with this, except, he stops once again in battle, and then after Zaruba determines where the illusion is coming from, he just slashes right through it. It would make more sense had he not slashed through it, but if they tumbled around it to slash at it before the thing vanishing. Because, if you avoid doing something for, you think she's real, and then you hear, even though you're pretty much told every time she's an illusion, and then you know where the collusion's coming from, oh, no, there was never any problem, I'll just slash through her and destroy the illusion. And she is an illusion, so why was I hesitating? I mean, the first time he doesn't know it's an illusion, but all the other times after he does, he should have learned that. There is this long beatdown of Raiga Garo, fighting the horror of the week and absolutely enraged. And of course, that was after he destroys the illusion, and the horror reveals the whole thing about it being his first meal, and of course, no empathy, no sympathy, nothing but malicious glee. At least this actor's version of malicious glee. And I don't get why it angers him so much. I mean, yeah, the what's the phrase? Not pitifulness, pittiness, and I'm blanking on the term I want to use. I hate it when I do that. It's continuing what I think this show is trying to end with in the Garo armor stained and its shine lost to leading to the events of Yami wo Tarasu Mono, where the armor is no gold. But it's not fitting the character when they do these ridiculously enraged moments, I guess. I mean, it makes sense if, to save Mayuri, he let the darkness of the Makai flower to bleed into the Garo armor. That would make sense. Or the power bleed off into the Garo armor, so it would have to be purified, because if I remember correctly, that's part of the arc of Yami wo Tarasu Mono. I haven't seen it. Feel free to correct me. Of course, during these events, the original priest that freed Eris from the slab and all the slab horrors appears, and that's how the episode ends, with Crow recognizing the guy. Crap. Honestly, don't know what they're going to go, where they're going to go from here. Then again, some good series should leave you guessing. Really don't have anything else for this time, so I'll see you all next week. Oh, right. Garo, the anime, Hono no Kokuin, I think I'm getting the name wrong, has a set start date for early October. I am going to watch it. I'm going to give a first thoughts on it, either in written form or just a quick video. I haven't decided yet. Just to go with everything else Garo I've been doing. In fact, it premieres, I think, the day before or the day after I release my Chapter of the Black Wolf review. Pretty much a month from today. So, please look forward to that, and I think that's all I got. Later.